I swallowed probably like 70 pills one day, and my dad found me laying on the floor and he rushed me to the hospital. And I was just done. I didn't see my next. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see myself measuring up to anything that I was expected to be.
Welcome to another episode of the Powerless to Powerful Recovery podcast. My name's Jason. I'm an alcoholic and addict. As always, our mission is to share experience, strength, and hope across multiple media platforms. The story of addiction and the road to recovery. We are not affiliated with Alcoholics Anonymous or any other 12-step based organizations or groups in any way. My co-host is here, Ronnie. No matter what, we're back, brother.
We're back. Here we
and
go.
This is a special.
I
mean, dude, it's not often you got a soccer star on the show.
Soccer.
And I hate to admit it, she might have been better than me. God damn it, I had to admit that. Did I have to do that today? She's got the awards.
She's got a ring.
I mean, she got rings, brother. You want to know how many rings I got? Same as Charles Barkley. None, dude. I got no rings, brother. She's got rings. And we have a special guest. Isabella Roybal's in the building. Nexus Wellness Clinic is in the building.
Let's go.
Recovery All-Star, Soccer All-Star, Director of Compliance. What? Nexus is here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, this is going to be fun.
This is cool.
I mean, what's your juggle record? How many times can you juggle the ball?
My record is 160.
160.
That's
okay.
right.
What's yours?
I know. I might have her beat on that one.
Yeah,
And that's why I asked her. I was good at that for a minute. You want to hear? I'll tell you one quick little story. And so I got cut from my first club team, right? And so I went to this club team, the Cisco Dynamics, and they were the best in the game. And I didn't start playing club till 6th grade. But when I got there, he said, if you want to make this team, you got to juggle 100 times. My record at that time was like 7. And I cried, dude. But what I learned how to do was juggle that damn ball.
Yeah, that's right.
Just like that one movie. I don't know the name of it, but it was just dance. Just dance. Dance your little heart out, dude. And that's what I did. I juggled my little heart out, but better than 160. I'll tell you that.
That's right.
I mean, another show, another time.
That's right. We
Nexus,
could go into it.
And that's most importantly, and that's always been our mission of this podcast is to bring on others like yourself who have a passion to be in this, who've created an amazing program, an amazing facility, and giving men and women just like us who came from incarceration and now have that ability to have that support. Not everyone had a wife that was able to have their Goodfellas moment and pick you up and have the condo and money in the bank and take you to Best Buy to get that laptop to start the show, even when she thought I was nuts. What do you mean? That's the first thing you want to do is get a laptop and a microphone. I had a vision.
That's right.
I had a vision, but let's talk about Nexus for a second. We're entrenched with Nexus, a partner of Desert Recovery Centers. It's a different lane and gives Ron and I the ability to reconnect to our passion and our heart, which is that reentry demographic and population. So Nexus is an outpatient clinic that offers PHP, IOP, vocational programming, one-on-one therapy, case management needs, peer support, all the things. And then the oversight comes from you. Oversight comes from Ron at Desert, and that's a full-time job in itself. I might start writing notes just to see how good she is, because it's been a while.
Yes.
It's been a while. So talk about Nexus for a second and where that name comes from. So I know a little bit. Next up, right? On to the next.
Yes.
Nexus is about connection. But that next up, that Nexus mission really rings true to you. Shout out to your mom, right?
Shout out to my mom.
Shout out to your mom. But where does that really originate from?
That originates from my mom. When we were going through kind of a hard time, we would use a phrase, we're on to our next. When things were looking like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, we just had to say we're on to the next. So I think Nexus is the connecting point to your next step in life, whether that's recovery or just choosing to make today the best day you can make it.
And what I love about that is even in that time period, I just put myself just kind of in that time period because I know a little bit about what you went through and we're going to talk about it more. But it didn't even seem like there was a next yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And that's what our clients don't know,
That's
right?
right.
The clients
That's
that come from Nexus, they don't even know there's a next. They don't
Yes.
even know that they could find sobriety. They don't even know they could have fun. They don't even know they can find their real purpose and passion, who they are, and be able to tell you that. They don't know that. right? And you didn't know that either at that time, but what
Yes.
you did know is that you were surrounded with love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Nexus also brings, is that love.
That's right.
Together, there's always going to be that next.
Yes.
But we got to do it together,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we've known each other for quite some time now. I think we've known each other for about 4 years. And so
Yes.
I always like to talk about how we know each other, because we handpick our guests. They're very particular of who we want to bring on, because we want to bring on someone who has been through the same things that we've been through. But ultimately, we all want to write a book, but you can't write a book till you got those last chapters,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Right? Or the beginning resemblance of part 2, right? And so now we've been able to rewrite that next pass, right? That next up, that nexus part of your journey. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. But we've known each other for quite some time. We had the ability to work together on a massive program and a massive reentry facility. And it gave us really the ability to navigate those relationships, to figure out how to connect with Department of Corrections, to understand their needs and how to build a program to really work together to find that synergy. Ron, what was your experience? I mean, we've known each other for quite some time, and being the director of compliance, you've had the privilege of working with Isa and helping her learn some of the new nuances that come from today's market. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to how many people we work with, and we call them yeah-yeahs. There's a lot of people out there that go, oh, yeah. You tell them how to do something, or you ask them if they know a particular, and they say yeah. And over the last 3-4 months now that I've been working with you, I can see, this is the first time I've seen Isa since
Not on
the
Zoom.
Christmas party.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right.
Christmas party a couple years ago.
That's right.
And then it's all been on Zoom. So when I seen you in person, I was like, oh, she is a real person. And but I see it when I explain something to you, or I show you a process, and then I wait a little bit and I go back and I ask you, and you retain the information, and it's not you just okay, and I see you writing it down, or I see you putting it in your computer, and that's what makes someone successful, is being able to take information, and you may know some of it already, but being able to retain it and then actually apply it to everyday application through work. And I see that you're catching on pretty quick.
Well, thank you for saying that. Obviously, I learned from the best, so you're making my job a lot easier.
I mean, I
but-
taught her a lot. I mean, and call it what it is. Tell me more about the best. I like that. That's not me. It wasn't me, actually. My notes are not very good. They're not very good. I haven't wrote them in a very long time.
Just note to self, if you ever see a note in your EHR written by him, signed off, make sure you put that against the AI scrubber.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, how dare you? You're going to disrespect me
I'll
on the
have to
air like
double
that?
check that one.
brother, you got
just
a lot going on.
You just disrespected me in 33 countries, dude. There's someone in Malaysia right now, dude, that's looking at me like, you don't even know how to write a damn note?
Or that's wondering what an AI scrubber is.
and just to kind of talk about that for a second, and really understanding just the way the landscape has changed and really what AI really brings.
Sure.
And so really being able to incorporate that into Nexus to really give us those components that otherwise we wouldn't have had, or it would take us a very long time to incorporate, develop, and then ultimately be able to implement. So, I mean, shout out to me for having the foresight to get into AI.
Oh, you're there.
I mean, thank you. I wouldn't go that far, right? But I did go to this conference, in this mergers and acquisitions conference, and there was this big thing because Ron and I aren't AI note writing type of guys. We want it to come from you. Ron's biggest thing is the individualized, and that's what you're going to see is going to be cool. You're going to see all the staff members and their style and how it evolves, and be able to coach them through that process to have their own real style.
Sure.
I got my own style, Ron.
You do. You got stuff.
Yeah, I got style. Thank you, Ron. But every journey starts somewhere, and that's what we're here to do today, is to talk about your journey. And I thought you were born in California. Shout out Ahwatukee.
Shout out Ahwatukee.
Oh,
Shout out
goodness.
Arizona.
Shout out AZ. I had no
AZ.
idea, dude. She's a Phoenician.
That's right.
Okay. So you were born out here. So why don't you share just what it was like growing up in Ahwatukee? You started playing soccer real young, 3 years old. I mean, that is a huge part of my story. For anyone who knows me, I didn't really have a backup plan. I'm 43. There wasn't very many even opportunities. MLS was just created back in like 2000 when I was, and Arizona, fun fact about Arizona only has one team that has 4-year university out here for men, and that's Grand Canyon University. ASU doesn't have a
Wow.
team. U of A doesn't have a team. So just think about it. And we were kind
Mhm.
of talking about why I actually admitted you were better than me, because every California team that I ever played, they spanked my ass real good. But you came from Arizona, went out to California, and they didn't even recognize you being from Arizona
That's
because of the
right.
level of your skill. So
Mhm.
I'll give you I'll give you your flowers where they're
Thank you.
deserved. I
I
don't do it
appreciate
often.
that.
Ask my wife. She
Yes.
does it there, dude.
From
She's
one
like,
soccer star to another. I
oh,
appreciate
thank
that.
you. I
Yes.
like that. That's
Yeah.
nice. Okay. So growing up, what was the family dynamic like? Because I know there was
Mhm.
divorce and I know there was trauma, and that kind of shapes us, right?
Yeah.
And we all start to look over it with our clients at Nexus, with our clients at Desert, and we really start to look how the early moments kind of really shape us, and
Mhm.
now ultimately seeing healthy relationships, wanting to have them. Maybe we've never seen them and things of that nature. So why don't you just take a time period just for all of our listeners, just to
Mhm.
kind of, what was the family dynamic like? How did that shape you? And what do you remember from that time period?
Yeah, I mean, I have 4 siblings. I have 2 older half brothers that weren't primarily living with me at the time, so I took on the role as the oldest sibling, and I feel like that really,
Shapes you.
yeah, it shaped me. It shaped to this day. I love my siblings. I love to take care of people, but I felt a sense of responsibility at a very young age to maybe shield or protect my siblings from the chaos that I was witnessing in my house. So
I think, dude,
yeah.
I love how you brought that up, first
Yeah.
off, because I'm a firstborn. You're,
Only born.
you got a brother.
I got a stepbrother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
But I
But
was
you're
firstborn
you're
for-
firstborn too.
Mhm.
Okay. My
Yeah.
wife's the firstborn, and what we hear is, dude, you're the firstborn. Just shut up, dude. Just
Yeah.
deal with it, right? Like, you're the firstborn.
Mhm.
But I think it's really interesting. We've had a lot of different groups, and they do about birth order. Birth order, and then there's the different dynamics that the siblings take on, right? And so
Yes.
I know which one I believe that you took on, but I'm gonna have to see if you,
Mhm.
right? So there's a different one. So you got the hero,
Mhm.
you got the placater, and then you got the lost child. And those are typically the different dynamics that you see.
Mhm.
And usually the firstborn becomes the hero, right? And especially when
Yeah.
it's a little chaotic, right?
Mhm.
And that's how we're going to describe it. It's just a little bit of chaos.
Yes.
And so what we do as the firstborn is we kind of step up to try to shield or protect
Mhm.
our siblings really from that. And that was kind of your experience, right?
Yes.
Would you say you were the hero?
Yes, I think I went through all of those phases
Yeah, all of them.
as I grew
Sure,
up, but
all.
definitely during that time, I felt like I needed to be the hero, because it was more so like I was protecting my siblings, but also I was protecting my mom.
Mm.
So for me, I love both of my parents, but I've always felt very strongly about protecting someone when I know something isn't right. So I was very aware of things going on in my house at a very young age, and I feel like that made me very hyper aware to everything going on all the time as I got older.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me ask you this. I think that, for me, there's a lot of chaos in my life,
Mhm.
and it's all created by me,
Yeah.
right? And the only place where I didn't feel that chaos was when I was on the field.
That's right. That's
Right.
right.
And so having that as the escape and having
Mhm.
those things, and then fast forwarding down the road when it's not there anymore, and that
Yes.
empty void and that empty hole.
Mhm.
And usually we fill it with other things that,
Yeah.
aren't the most healthy things, that draws us from that fundamental aspect of sports, of soccer, of who we want others to perceive us to be and how we want to be viewed. And it
Mhm.
all shapes, exactly who we are, right?
Yeah.
And so we got soccer that's going on, then we
Mhm.
got the chaos at home, and then you
Yes.
feel safe when you're on the field, but then ultimately you deal with that chaos, right?
Yeah.
And so at some point, the chaos had to end, right? Or you
Mhm.
move, right? And you move to California.
Yes.
So what was that like? Was it a shell shock? Was it a different change?
Yeah.
Because it was middle school, and
Yes.
kids aren't nice
No,
at all.
and I didn't have the best experience. It's funny because living in Arizona, we would vacation to California every single summer. So it wasn't like I was going into a place that I didn't know. And I would do soccer camps out at UC Santa Barbara or different colleges in Southern California. But I remember we were at a hotel that's in Carlsbad, and I was with my mom and my little sister and my little brother. And my dad at the time we were still living in Arizona, but he was working for a tribe out in California.
Mhm.
And then we got the call that we were going to move. And I was so mad. I locked myself out on the balcony and I just cried. I mean, I was 12 years old. I had all my friends. I was the captain of my soccer team.
Oh, man.
I was about to start middle school. So it was just all of these things that were suddenly changing. And from that call to when we moved, it was 30 days.
Oh, it was fast.
It was fast. So it's funny, I went to a soccer camp from Carlsbad, drove up to Santa Barbara, went home, and we packed up our house and we left.
And you left.
Yeah. So it was a quick change, and it was kind of hard to grasp at the time what was really happening.
Yeah. And I think anytime there's that quick sudden change or that quick change in environment,
Yes.
you know, it brings fear, right? And whether
Yes.
that's healthy fear, whether that's fears, you know, that for a lot of years warranted fears because my actions are feeding into all the fears. But you had that same experience too, Ron, where you came from New York and you came out here and you had that change of environment.
Yeah.
And it was kind of that shell shock component of it, and you're trying to get resettled. And yeah, different time period, different environment, different
Sure.
age. But now think about that change. Of course, you were going through addiction. You came out here to get sober and all those different things. But think about, you know, making that change, leave addiction out of it, but being at such a young age, kids not being nice. I was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I was a late bloomer.
Oh,
and,
it
you
was
know,
a
so-
shell shock when I first moved to California, because in California they do middle school 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And I think here it's just 7th and 8th
Yeah.
grade. So when I moved, everyone had a full year of middle school under their belt, and I was walking into a completely new experience of, oh my gosh, now I'm in a new state, people I don't know, I have to change in the locker room, like all of these
Yeah.
new things.
Yeah, all those things, and then ultimately that leads you into high school, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
so then those high school years, you know, for a lot of us become, you know, the catalyst for what's to come, right? Whether that's substance abuse, whether that's continued trauma, whether we're displaying that now. But you went through some pretty heavy shit.
Yeah,
right?
I did go
some really heavy
yeah,
shit.
some heavy shit.
Yeah,
but-
so I mean,
say the least.
To say the least,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, you're talking to a couple guys that have sponsored, you know, a lot of men, and you're talking to someone who's had that same experience as a young kid as well.
Sure.
And with all the experiences that we've had, just to throw out the number, if I had a prison math, just some percentages on the amount of men that you've sponsored that have suffered sexual abuse or some sort of sexual trauma in some way, dude, it's got to be high 75%, bro. Like it is.
You know, just to speak on it, because I was in a conversation about this the other day about trauma and sexual abuse, especially around men. And there was a room, there was probably about 60 guys in this room, and 59 men in that room had suffered some sort of sexual or physical abuse. We're not talking about a spanking. We're talking about something pretty, and that's huge. Like, and that's something that isn't talked a lot about with men, but in general, the mental health component, it's all mental health. Drugs and alcohol aren't our problem. They're our solution.
Yes.
They're our solution because of the way I feel, the way I'm thinking, what I'm trying to overcome, what I'm trying to overadapt. It's, you know, mental health. It's all mental health. So that's why, you know, especially at Desert, the last 2 years, we focus 100% on that mental health component because substance abuse is mental health.
Yes. I
Right.
agree.
It's a symptom.
Yeah.
It's a symptom.
It's
Yes.
the same.
You know, but as a young child, you know, you suffered sexual abuse yourself,
Sure.
dude. And
Well,
then it wasn't talked about for ever.
Never has.
Never has been talked about, right?
It
And
never,
so-
and yeah, particularly in my life, right? What happened to me when I was a child was never talked about. And I used that for a long time in my life to have a resentment of why you didn't talk to me about it. Why, you know, why? And then later in life, when I got sober and I took an inventory of my life and started to look at my relationships and my part in things, well, it was brought to my attention, maybe they didn't talk to you about it because they didn't know how to process it themselves,
Yeah.
because they felt guilty because
Totally.
it happened on their watch.
Yes.
So when
There's a lot, dude.
Yeah, when it was supposed to be like,
going on, dude.
I had this guy telling me that I played a part. How did I play a part in me getting assaulted? No, what I played a part in is using that to treat people the way I treated them the rest of my life, and to not achieve the goals and the dreams that are right there for me to grab, and that's all of our parts in it, right?
Yeah.
There has to become a point in our life when we have to move forward and
For
be able
sure.
to heal.
But it's
from
so
that.
hard.
So
Yes.
I mean, it's
When
hard to
you're
process.
when it's
'Cause
in
that
the
happened to you,
moment.
right?
Yeah, I was 15 years old, and I was at a college campus at SDSU with a family member at the time. And I can look back and now and be like, oh, well, I probably shouldn't have been there, but I was
not your
15
fault.
years
Yeah,
old.
yeah, dude,
So it was obviously I'm with college students and people that are older than me, and I'm being fed alcohol for the first time, smoked weed for the first time, and unfortunately was taken advantage of that night. And it it changed my entire life because obviously that is a traumatic thing to go through. And like you were saying, I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know what to say. I felt like me bringing that up would cause even more problems within my family because we were already in the midst of my parents splitting
we're
up.
reconstructing, we're rebuilding. There's a lot going on. I'm already the hero, trying to keep the peace,
trying to
shield
keep it together while I'm
There's
dealing
no
with
way I could bring this up.
all my mental health problems until I couldn't take it anymore. So I swallowed probably like 70 pills one day, and my dad found me laying on the floor and he rushed me to the hospital. And I was just done. I didn't see my next. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see myself measuring up to anything that I was expected to be.
You didn't know there was a nexus, right? Like you didn't know, right?
That was something that really obviously impacted me, impacted my family. So from the hospital, I was sent to an inpatient trauma center. And that's when I had to tell my parents that I was sexually assaulted. So all of these moving pieces, came to a head when I was in recovery. But yeah.
Isn't it amazing the unreal expectations we put on ourselves?
Yes.
That hold us back, because that's what I heard, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a soccer star. I'm the hero. I'm the firstborn. I've got to be there to protect my mom and my little brother and my little sister. And so I can just take my shit and put it off to the side.
Yes. And I think that me trying to act like nothing was wrong was causing even more problems.
Sure.
I
to
struggled.
the point where you stop playing soccer.
Yes,
I mean, your heart, dude, to the point, your safe place, to the point where you had lost the passion and the drive to even want to do things like that.
Yeah, and it was hard because during this time I was playing soccer, and a lot of the people that I was playing with did not support me and created their own narratives as to why I was sent to treatment versus what actually happened to me. So dealing with that, coming out, being in high school, and everyone talking about you, and I wish I could just be like, no, this is what happened. But I think when I was in trauma care, it gave me the steps to be able to work through those things.
To be able to heal from it.
Yes.
But what also happens during this period of time is, I call it the perfect storm.
Yes.
Got a lot of shit popping off.
Yes.
I call it the combo, dude. The combo happens, bro. You got all different things hitting you all at one time, dude.
Yeah.
And it's unbearable, right?
Yes.
And so not only do you got, the assault that happens, the dream of soccer's put on hold at the moment of time, but you also get your tonsils taken out like right after that.
Yes.
So now they're giving you pain pills and you're already feeling negative emotions and guilt and
Like
shame,
that.
embarrassment, remorse. You pop a couple Percocets and all of a sudden now that you need, that never even happened, damn near. Right?
It was very the transition of me getting out of treatment, going back into my normal life and getting into school from that surgery was very quickly. I wasn't using any sort of drugs before. I mean, after I would smoke a little bit of weed here and there, but when I got that surgery, it changed everything in my life. It was like I finally felt the numb that I was craving for so long because I was still hurting so tremendously every single day. But yeah.
Because it works. Don't think, don't feel, don't care. Like it literally works every time. And that's the problem with it. is it's a solution that works, but what it does is it causes more of all the reasons why we want to change the way we feel.
Exactly.
Guilt, shame, embarrassment, remorse, regret. Then the lies start to come. And then mom's recognizing some shit on you. And then we're lying to the people we love the most. And not because we're really trying to deceive them. It's because we got to fear if they knew the truth, they wouldn't love us, right?
Exactly.
And so we want to put that front up that whole time. So you got all these things that are all coming together, but you're still able to graduate. Right?
By the grace of God, I did. And with the help of my mom. I mean, I couldn't have gotten through high school without her or just the support from...
Because there's a big thing that happens. I mean, we got to give a shout out to Coach Daniel.
Coach
Big
Daniel,
shout out.
thank you so much.
Can you share the conversation that you had with him before we even started this podcast today? Just kind of, him reaching out and just that whole thing is just, it's recovery in a story, just so fast.
My coach, I met him years ago, and it's funny because at first I didn't like him. I didn't like his style. He just seemed so out there, and I was like, who is this guy? But when I stopped playing, he was the one person that reached out to my mom and wanted to make sure that I was okay. And I swore off soccer. I'm never going back just because of the way that I was treated by certain coaches and players and the whole administration. But I decided to do private lessons with him for a year. And he never pushed me. He never tried to get me to do anything that I didn't want to do until he realized that I was still struggling with the drug abuse. I ghosted him for 2 weeks. I didn't show up to my one-on-ones, and he calls me and he goes, I need you to be ready for my team. So that was my decision there, that I was never going to take Oxy ever again. I went to the one-on-one, fully detoxing, throwing up on the field, running my ass off to prove to myself that I could do it. So I played with him my senior year for club soccer, and we won our club league. And I ended up winning CIF my senior year in high school. And we've kept in touch from then to now. But this morning...
And can you share what CIF stands for?
It's
top player. You're the top player in the state.
It's like the regionals for all of Southern California high schools, and we beat them. So it was a great way to finish my high school soccer career. But Daniel's always been there for me through my life. When I was living in LA, he reached out and helped me, always checking in. But he just reached out to me this morning and asked me if I could give him a 1 to 2 minute testimonial for him. And I just felt like it was so full circle of us doing the podcast today, him reaching out, and just knowing that I know my story could help someone else.
Yes, that is huge. I love that so much. It's just, and if we start to look over now what we all have gained through recovery's awareness, right? And we start to see all these different things, and then we could truly attach them for what they are. And it's just a miracle and a blessing, and it's God, a higher power. It's continuing to show you that God's always been there. And Ron's biggest thing is God wears people clothes. And Coach Daniel wears people clothes.
No, he really was an angel that blessed my life and continues to do so. And I'm so glad that.
And he got you back in the game, okay?
And a fun fact real quick. CIF, California Interscholastic Federation, which is the governing body of high school athletes. It organizes champion tournaments for girls soccer teams across the state.
That's right.
So basically, if you win this,
top dog.
You're the best female soccer player in the state.
Oh, thank you for
that. Is so awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and the comeback story though. Yeah, I love this shit. And the comeback story from taking that hiatus, from dropping the pills, cutting cold turkey, to doing one-on-one lessons for a whole entire year, for all the other, just the family dynamic aspects that were all being rebuilt and constructed in the background of all these things going on. To win that award is just the icing on the cake for your hard work.
Yes. No, it felt like that was the way that I wanted to finish out on a high note, because I knew that I did everything that I was supposed to do, and I put my heart and soul out on the field.
So amazing.
And it was clearly rewarded. So
it was rewarded, yes. And that's just like anything, whether it's the action you take for recovery, the action that you take, in your profession. People want to help themselves. And when we take action and we continue to do it every single day, the results and the outcomes speak for themselves. And that was just one example of it. And so in 2019, you graduate, right? You win the award, you get the ring, do all the things, right? And then you move to LA. right? So you say,
Yes.
you know what, I'm going to LA, Mom. But you also met a dude, right? Like
Yes.
you met this guy.
I
Right?
moved to
Non-shout out to this dude.
non-shout out.
No,
but
no shout outs.
I moved to the belly of the beast. I mean, I was living on Hollywood Boulevard, and through my choice of moving to LA was I wanted to get as far away as possible from the problems that I was living in. I could not take it anymore. I didn't care if I didn't have any money. I didn't care that I was with this awful person or that I was on drugs again. I just wanted to leave. And I will never forget the first day that I got there and I just realized what I had done. I'm like, oh my God, wow, I'm here and now I'm going to have to deal with it. And I remember calling both my mom and my dad and they're like, well, this is what you wanted to do. So you're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, like you're a big girl now. Remember, you just made this big girl decision.
You wanted to go leave and go live in the city. So what are you gonna do now that you're there? And it was.
What do you do? So what's that time period look like? It's a little rough. It's a little hairy.
It was very rough. I was probably mentally the lowest that I had been in so long, because I didn't have a plan. Once again, kind of going back into, I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see what my next was gonna be, and I was homeless. I was living in a tent under a bridge with ex-veterans, people that were strung out, people that needed help. And I remember someone coming up to me and saying, why are you here? And it changed everything. It changed my perspective. And I questioned that with myself. What am I doing here? Why am I subjecting myself to this? And it was because I was hurting so bad inside. My mental health my depression was awful. You know, my anxiety was just sending me places that I didn't want to go.
Driving you all around, yeah.
And just being in a fearful situation with the relationship that I was in added more just problems into trying to get myself out of the situation that I had put myself into. So...
And so, and that comes with like almost like a pre-dawn, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And so when that person asked you, that was almost the moment that kind of grounded you, right?
Yes.
Where you're like, wait, hold up, you're right. I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason I need to be here right now, but I know that I got to leave and I got to do a change of environment, right? And I got to make sure that I get as far away from this, and that's what you did. Middle of the night, I'm gone, and you leave.
Well, I want to give a shout out to, it's called My Friend's Place. It's in Hollywood, and they help me so much. They help homeless youth. They provide showers 5 days a week, clothes. You can do art programs there, music. They help you with housing, and they help me get back into school as well. So if I didn't access those programs that were available to me,
That's amazing. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to make those big strides to get where I am now. Especially, I mean, in that moment, just me moving into an apartment, a little shoebox I felt like I was on top of the world.
Yeah,
I'm off the street. I'm in an apartment. I'm safe. You know, I'm not worried about anything else right now.
That's huge. That's huge. From under a bridge in a tent to reaching out, asking for help. And that's why we have Nexus. And that's why we all work in this field, because if it wasn't for programs and your mom and my wife and support systems, and it takes all of that put together.
Yes.
It can't just be the one person that believes in you. You need that one person to believe in you, but you also need the team to support you, because chances are that one person that believes in you, you probably put them through a couple things.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
More than a few things.
It takes a team to put it all together that can give you that fresh start. But ultimately, we can give someone that fresh start, but it's what you do when you get there.
Yeah, it's how you use it. And I knew that moment was a chance for me to get myself together. I knew that if I decided that I wasn't going to do that, I wasn't going to have help. So that really changed my mindset. But while all this is going down, COVID hits. Yeah. So everything shuts down. I'm not able to work. But I was able to find a nanny job. And that's what I did for 4 years, as I worked every single day. That first year, I worked 6 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day, just to make money. I didn't have a car. I would take the subway from Hollywood to Culver City. And it's not easy. It's not easy to get around. It takes an hour to get there. And then I would walk a mile from the subway to the house that I would work at, because I knew that I needed to do that, to take care of myself, to pay my rent, to make sure that I wasn't dependent on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You need to
so.
stand on your own 2 feet. And
Yeah.
that's what recovery teaches
Yeah.
us, man. We got to go the same extremes that we went to pursue the negative things. We got to go to even farther extremes to pursue the positive, to switch those attachments, to
Yes.
rewire the brain, to open those neural pathways up, to get the pleasure center, operating again. And it takes all those things, and you've been able to do it. And then I'll give your mom another shout out because she gave you a call.
Yes.
She called you. Excuse me. I got so hyped up and started choking. She calls you in 2022 and says, check it out.
Mm-hmm.
That same type of program, that same type of path that gave you that ability. Now we're going to give that ability to as many damn people as we can.
That's right.
And you guys didn't do it on a small level. I mean, we're talking massive scale, helping thousands and thousands of different people. And we don't have to get too deep into all that, but in my opinion, and if anyone asks me about that time period, everybody involved in that program should have got a fucking award.
Yes.
For the amount of service, the amount of help, the amount of people need to really look at reality. And if they really knew, and just like all the people who have all things to say all the time, I mean, most of the time it has nothing to do with actual reality.
Yes.
But what that project gave all of us, because we were all involved in that project, but what it gave us the ability to do is to really see the nuances of the market, to really see what it would take to be successful, to see the changes that the industry has really made and evolved over the last 2 years. That's now brought us all to this point.
Yeah,
right?
together again. So.
And here we are again.
Yeah.
Right? This podcast is just one of the touch points, if you will, that we get to see each other.
Yeah.
Desert Recovery Centers partnering with Nexus, but we're also involved in Nexus. Nexus is our connection. Desert is my baby.
Yes.
But reentry is my heart. Right? Because not everyone was as fortunate as I, and most of these men and women get out with nothing, and if they're lucky, $200.
Yes.
And they get to a program, whether it's a New Freedom, no shade on any programs, right? But if you don't allow that individual to pursue work or to have the ability to be able to take care of themselves, then when they graduate, it's just like getting released all over from prison.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like that's kind of the hard part. I mean, I met so many people when I was in LA that homeless and didn't have ID, didn't have any documentation. And it's like, well, I want to go work. I want to get out of this rut that I'm in, but what am I going to do so? And just a short story, but I remember going to the Salvation Army, or they had food and coffee outside. And this gentleman came up to me and he just was asking me about my life story and what are you doing here? And I don't know why I felt so trusting with him, but maybe it was another angel that had blessed me that day. But he drove me down to the Social Security office by MacArthur Park and got me signed up for general relief and food stamps. And that saved my life. And I'm just like, I didn't have any money at the time. I didn't know how I was going to pay for food. And I think about that all the time because it's like, if we can provide that to one person, it can change everything for them.
Wow. That's right. And if it's only that one person, then it's a success too.
Yes.
Right? To have amazing life that you get to have today if it was only one client, but it's not. And that's the good news, right?
Yes.
It's a lot of clients that we get to help.
Right. That's right.
But that leads me into talking more about Nexus because that's the main goal is to really get Nexus out there, let everyone know what we do, how they can find you guys, how they can get enrolled in the program. So first off, I got to give a shout out to Rooted. It's a partnership that Nexus has. They bring housing to the component of it. There's 27 plus beds that are involved in the program, so we can get you off the streets.
Yes.
We can get you into a safe place, but that's just one component of it. Anyone can get that nice 2-story building we got over there on Camelback, right? Anyone can get the 12,000 square foot buildings. We had 45,000 square foot buildings. But what's important is what takes place while we're there.
Yes.
And so that's really what we've done, and really what we're really looking forward to is that ability to put the programming in place, to have the ability to provide that one-on-one trauma care, to have those PHP groups and really have that hands-on level of 5 to 6 hours where we're truly engaged with them so we can make sure when they go into IOP and the outpatients and begin to work for nighttime IOP that they have all the tools they need to be successful, because you got to get the IDs and all those case management things before you can apply for the job.
That's right.
And so we're going to have the ability to do that. And Ron can talk about being, led by the clinical team and being peer driven. Can you share a little bit about that model and why it's our heart?
Sure. when you have this perfect push-pull and you have the clinical team and the peer team, and when you have this you're guided clinically and you're driven with the peers, and you can have this perfect push-pull back and forth, that's where the magic happens, right? Because no matter where somebody's coming from, no matter how long they're going to be in your program, you have to start discharge planning from day one. You have to. You have to work with the clinical team, because they're getting out no Social Security card, no food stamps, having probably a plethora of court dates out there. They have warrants that they don't even know where these courts are. So that's where the case management team is going to come in and lead with compassion and their own personal experience, guided with the clinical team.
That's right.
And then continue to step them down from level of care to level of care, depending on the medical necessity. And that's where the documentation comes in, speaking to the problem all the time. Because if I'm always speaking to the problem and I'm truly helping somebody, the problem is going to change. Let me say that again.
Yeah, please do.
If I'm speaking to the problem and I'm really helping somebody, that problem is going to change. It's just going to be a different problem, maybe a little bit
More
down the
mild.
scale, the scale. You know, it's going to go from this big mountain of problems that the goal is every 30 days that mountain is chiseled down and chiseled down and chiseled down, because we got to do our part.
Yes.
We have to do our part, but also the client has to do theirs. So getting them motivated, using the peer model, and then, you know, having the clinical team do what they do, the magic of helping with those traumas, realizing that, you know, I'm not responsible for what happened to me when I was a child, but I am responsible for what happens today.
Yes.
Right? I am responsible for that, and I see that in you. I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words, because what I've heard over the last hour, I would have never thought it in a million years. Like, I was over there and I heard about being under bridges and cocaine, and I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, never judge a book by its cover. I think that's kind of, it's so cliche, but I mean, I look back on certain experiences and it seems so far away from where I'm at now. And I think that's kind of the process of it. You know, I didn't think at 18 that I would ever see 25, and my birthday is coming up in a few months. And I'm so excited to enter this next phase of my life, because with everything that's happened, I've learned so much. And kind of what you were saying, it's like, I have to be responsible for myself. And I'm not, you know, the best 100% person every single day, but I make an intentional effort every day to try to be my best.
Yes.
And I never want to slide back to the places that I was in. I learned a lot from it, but I know that I can never go back.
Yeah.
It's
Shit again.
Everything's going pretty well so far, so I want to keep on that stride.
Yeah, and speaking of, you know, improvement and making those changes, I mean, you went back to school. I mean, you're going back to school to do this. You know, you're really focusing on finding a specific lane, which is the most important lane in any behavioral health company, which is the documentation.
Yes.
And so learning that skill set and ultimately having the oversight on that is what's going to keep Nexus continuing to grow and giving the ability to help so many more people. So if you're somebody listening to this show right now and you're suffering from substance abuse, mental health, you're a loved one, you're the one suffering, we want to help. Nexus wants to help. Desert Recovery Centers wants to help. If you want to go to Nexus and you want to be a part of an outpatient clinic and PHP, and that's the level of care, maybe you don't even know the level of care, and you want to check out more, go to nexuswellnessclinic.com, 602-980-3862. That's 602-980-3862. Please reach out to us at Nexus. Reach out to Isa if you want to hear more about her story, you want to know more about the program, please reach out to us. We want to help. And again, if you're suffering, it doesn't matter your financial situation, it doesn't matter if it's for you, just please call us, because we will not stop until we find you help. If you're someone that wants to get into inpatient, or you want to get into Desert Recovery Centers, or speak to any of us, Ron, where can they find us?
DesertRecoveryCenters.com. Instagram, Desert Recovery Centers, Instagram, Jason and Sarah, Powerless to Powerful. We're all over the place. Facebook, Jason and Sarah, Powerless to Powerful there as well. Ron Alessi, Ronnie No Matter What on TikTok. You know, just reach out to us, send us a message if you're struggling or you have a family member. And as Jason said, it doesn't matter your situation. We have so many resources because of this podcast, we have so many community partners. We have so many partnerships where somebody will be able to help you, but it's going to be up to you to take those first steps. So give us a call, send us a message, and we'll be in touch with you at ASAP.
And be on the lookout for podcasts dropping every other Wednesday. This episode's going to drop. If you want to get in touch with Isa and Nexus, please reach out to us because we are here to help. So tune in. New episodes dropping every other Wednesday. We appreciate all of our listeners all around the world. Tons of gratitude for you all. Thank you.